To you. As each election approaches, news pundits alert us that this one might be the most important of our lifetime. Hyperbole aside, they might have it right about the upcoming midterms, when voters traditionally stay away in droves. Of course, many of us thought that the 2020 presidential election was the one that would define how America would proceed into the 21st century. We thought if Biden wins, which he did, defeating the loser Trump by 7 million votes, we could reassemble our pursuit of democratic dreams. What we didn't know, even as folks were dancing in the streets on that Saturday when reports assured us that Biden had the electoral votes, what we didn't see was the fascist fervor that was sweeping the nation. From the grave, the evil Roy Cohn helped to shape the tone of America. Decades back, he was lawyer and mentor to a businessman playboy named Donald Trump and advised him, never admit you lost and never apologize. I may add that Roy Cohn is one of the most evil person I ever met, and I had many interactions with him. Trump, who often cried, "Where's my Roy Cohn?" began in August 2020, 4 months before the election, to challenge and dispute any result that made him what he is and always has been, a loser. What seems delusional on paper has redefined the Republican Party. Robert Taft, John McCain, even Ronald Reagan, Dwight Eisenhower would not recognize the party that had been the mouthpiece of conservatism in America. Fascism is not conservatism. So we have an upcoming election in a country that has carried the banner of democracy, if slightly flawed, still light years ahead of most nations. There are dozens of candidates at all levels, apostles of Trump, conspiracy theorists, many unqualified to assume seats in the corridors of power, with sloganeering that has nothing to do with confronting a budget, an alliance, or responding with intelligence to a natural disaster. They are losers who demonstrated on January 6, 2021, arguing that if the democratic process doesn't give them power, they will take it by force. History is flooded with similar scenarios. And though we note the violent conclusions of Hitler and Mussolini, we have to look at the carnage they created in their vacuous pursuits. Yes, the midterms in November is the opening round of the 2024 presidential race, in which fascists will determine if once and for all their plan to desecrate the vision of a push-and-pull democratic republic. You might read that the midterm elections is about gas prices and bail reform. It isn't. Listen to Mr. whatever his name is, the Republican candidate for governor in New York. He'll tell you it's about bail reform and crime. It's not. I describe myself as a political pragmatist. In my country, we've seen the underbelly in political terms of racists like Strom Thurmond and George Wallace, but they were sexually limited politically. Blights on our scene, but not being able to define it totally. In the 1950s, Joe McCarthy's parade of lies did serious damage, but his flame burned out quickly. But today, the Trump stench has lingered too long, invaded too deeply, drawing the approval of insistent racists and the chronically dissatisfied. An ignorant racist named Marjorie Taylor Greene has evolved from a comic's punchline to one sitting near the throne of the would-be emperor. What's behind it? Certainly racism, white fear of sharing the kingdom with descendants of slaves. The influx of brown-skinned Central Americans has added fuel to their irrational position. They are, the brown and the black-skinned people are the other, and their numbers are increasing. And the great fear and the great irony is white men who are afraid of dark-skinned men achieving what they've never had in the first place: money, prestige, and power. The robber barons always exploited them while convincing them that the threat is horizontal. It's vertical. TV shows feature the rich and the powerful, private jets, yachts, homes scattered around the globe. And the only thing between Johnny's six-pack and the illusion of luxury in his mind is the other. The CEOs at the top of the top 500 have a plan. And their plan is clear. No regulations and tax breaks as business incentives, and keep the vox populi divided, preoccupied with Roe versus Wade, gas prices, gay marriage, bail reform, while profits multiply and democracy is eroded. The midterms will not determine gas prices, but might be a signal of what America will be. The various Senate races are a preview of what will be. In Wisconsin, a horse's ass named Ron Johnson is the incumbent senator, and his specialty is conspiracy. He's challenged by a bright young African-American named Mandela Barnes. He's the lieutenant governor. Will the state of La Follette and Joe McCarthy have a clear choice, a fascist or an embracer of democracy? What's Wisconsin up to? Georgia is more complex. Herschel Walker, whose foibles have been TV fodder, is Trump's handpicked to unseat the Reverend Raphael Warnock. The distinctions couldn't be clearer. And so it goes in state after state, Trump candidates who are there solely to clear the path for the former reality show host. They see issues only as a path to victory, not solving our post-pandemic maze. Oh, yes, the midterms are vital, and less than 50% of eligible voters will show up, and others will be blocked or discouraged because that's the new GOP strategy. Here in New York, a perfectly competent Kathy Hochul is being seriously challenged by a Trump toady, and we're told by pollsters that it's close. There are many reasons to be concerned. President Barack Obama always alerted us that democracy is not a straight path. There are valleys and obstacles along the way. But the abyss in America has never been more apparent. I'm David Rothenberg, out on a limb.